Hello folks, I hope you're all doing very well. In this video, we're going to check out a very interesting device that has been around for a while now, but I managed to get my hands on one thanks to the developer for sending one out. However, all of my opinions and my impressions are my own. This is called, wait for it, the Knobster. And I have to say, it's a brilliant name, and it certainly makes you remember it. Also, I can imagine there's 100 jokes you can make about this device, but let's just put that to one side for a moment. What does this thing actually do? Well, by name in nature, this is a single knob that allows full realistic operation of every dial and rotary switch you can imagine in your cockpit. Now, this becomes ever more important when you consider VR use. I'm sure I'm not the only person out there that gets very frustrated sometimes when using the mouse to click every single switch and dial, or even using your VR controllers. It can be cumbersome and very time intensive. Also, there's just something very immersion breaking about using a mouse when you're in a cockpit. And this is where this device comes in. Now, I was quite surprised as soon as I took it out of its box. The feel of this switch is of the most highest quality. I mean, make no mistake, this is the kind of switch that you would kind of feel in a real aircraft. And every click that you make with that rotary dial feels very satisfying. And of course, that extends to when you're in VR, you can almost feel like you're clicking the buttons you're looking at. The clever thing here though is all about the software, and that's what you're watching right now. There is a free plugin now called Msfs. It just gets better and better, these names. And as you can see, I'm scrolling to change various options within the cockpit, whether it's the comm frequencies, nav frequencies, changing the pressure setting, altimeter, vertical speed, heading mode. You get the idea. There's pretty much nothing this thing can't do. But the great thing about this is it's all controlled by the switch itself. You don't need to even use your mouse. So when it comes to really high fidelity cockpits, I mean, we're using a business jet here, but perhaps even say the PMDG level of airliners, I think this suddenly becomes very, very useful indeed. No longer do you have to mess around, searching for click spots with your mouse, or even worse, your VR controller. You just basically have this window just in the place that you want it to be, and you can customize it as well to select various options, and you're really good to go. And I have to say, the first time I used it, I was a bit dubious about this. Is it just a gimmick? Oh hell no. And in fact, in VR, I would call it a game changer, to the point where this has become one of those very rare things that I never want to be without. It just feels so much better having a really quality, dare I say it for a lack of a better word, knob to touch and feel, and the tactile feedback it gives me just replicates when I'm in the cockpit, especially in a business jet where everything is so beautiful. That immersion can quickly fall down when you're using a mouse. Not anymore. I really do like this device. However, there's a couple of things that are niggles for me. I think the first one is, yes, it's very expensive. But you have to consider this is just one guy who's probably more of a hobbyist than anything else who's making these. So the cost to sort of produce all of the materials and his time and everything, you're getting a bespoke controller here. So I think it's not like it's being mass produced like, say, from Cytec or, Honeycomb. So that's probably why it's more money. I also think though that this is one of the best quality switches I've ever tried. So that money is very well spent. I think the only other thing is it would be nice for this device to be in its own box or, own module, because I'm not much of a DIY guy, and probably you are, so it won't be an issue for you. I need to find somewhere suitable to put this, because right now I've just got it stuck to my yoke. However, when I'm in VR, it's not like I'm looking at it anyway, and it feels great. Please do let me know in the comments if you've got a Knobster and you found a really good place to put it on your Honeycomb yoke, because I need to decide where to put it for a permanent sort of fix. But regardless of that, I think the only other thing I'd love to see is a way to be able to highlight all of the actual controls themselves in the cockpit. For example, when you do a checklist and everything is highlighted, it'd be great if there was a way to implement that so we don't need a menu system. I think the only other thing that would really be great is to use the eye tracking of headsets like the Vario Aero, where you just basically look at the knob you want to use and then use a switch. I did something like that at the Vario headquarters in Finland in DCS, where I had a switch attached to my leg. And this reminds me of that same concept. Imagine being able to look around the cockpit and just interact with what you see using this switch. But when it's all said and done, I absolutely love this device. I think it's fantastic. And it's so simple as well, and I think that's why it works so well, especially for VR users. If you're interested in getting a Knobster yourself, and I highly recommend it, I will have a link in the description below where you can find it. I hope you found this little mini review useful. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.